Hi, everybody. Welcome to the season 2 of Pipeline Pioneers, where our goal is to learn from the experts as well as the practitioners as to how to build the most optimal pipeline, a pipeline that converts into revenue. Today, I'm excited to have Kristi with me. Kristi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about our conversation today.
Yeah, same here. So, Kristi, to kick things off, why don't you intro the audience about you, your business, and how in your role do you help influence the pipeline?
Absolutely. So my name is Kristi Faltorusso. I'm currently the Chief Customer Officer at ClientSuccess. We are a customer success management solution. So we say we help our customers manage from new to renew. And I've been here for about 4 years, managing our entire post-initial sales team, that's success, support, and services. So with regards to the work that I do and how I influence pipeline in our organization, it's a few different ways because we think about revenue not only from net new sales, but also how do we drive revenue from our install base.
Yep.
So as far as it pertains to obviously net new pipeline, the influence comes from our customer base. So we think about things like our success stories that we help with marketing, references and referrals that influence and close new deals, right? So how do we help facilitate not only the beginning of feeding the pipeline, but how do we continue to move those deals through, hopefully to close? Now, obviously on the flip side of that, you've got your install base. And so we're heavily influencing what the pipeline looks like from growth. So this would be expansions, upsells, cross sells, things like that. And so that we have a lot more control and influence over. So for us, it's about what we call objective mapping. And so obviously as your customer success team, we should be the nearest and dearest to understand what our customers' goals are and what it is that they're trying to achieve with the partnership. Once we understand what that looks like, we do some goal mapping. And so that's the objective against our product. We know which of our products solve which of their problems. And so we go through exercises that help facilitate and understand what do we have that's going to help them get the most value and drive their outcomes. So we do a lot there that helps us influence what we can go and drive some growth around. Obviously, making sure that we understand which of our customers, so through white space mapping, what products they have and what they don't. So that will help us curate that. And then also understanding what customers are in good health and standing that are getting value from our solution, or even those that are not getting what they need from the current products, perhaps is there a product we can switch them off into. So we feel like we've got a lot of control in terms of how do we influence who are the right customers to talk to at the right time to drive the right revenue.
That's great. That's awesome. As they say, in times like these that we are living in, when money is not free, retention is the new growth.
It's true. Honestly, it's the cheaper money to preserve.
That's right. That's right. Well, you get customers, right? And not always you get customers that are the ICP.
That's correct.
When I have CROs and CMOs on my show, I ask them, how do you define your ICP? But for the chief customer officers, my question is, how do you give that feedback loop back? Hey, you gave me this customer. This isn't in our ICP.
Yeah, well, the first thing I'm going to do is, listen, anybody who's listening to this, your customer success leadership team should be part of the design process. So if you're designing your ICP without them, I think we've got a big problem. And so that's where I'm going to advise you to go start. So if you've not been part of the design of your ICP, go force your way into that conversation because you need to be getting ahead of it. So that's the first thing I'm going to advocate for. Now, with regards to, how do we navigate this or what influence do we have over it? Obviously, we inherit customers. We can't always control who buys our products, but we can always control what the relationship looks like and what outcomes we can help drive with them. So for us, obviously, ICP is super important because it helps us align our products to the outcomes. One of the cool things that I did design is something I called a success probability score. Mm-hmm. So what this allows us to do is understand at what rate and velocity and the success of each of our customers. So we actually have a score that allows us to say, as customers come in on a scale of 1 to 100, 100 being that they can be the most successful with our product at the fastest rate. Now, the lower the score, and I believe that everybody can be successful to some extent, but the lower the score, obviously the longer it's going to take us, right? Because they're not exactly aligned. And so we use these types of tools and mechanisms to align with the ICP to see where do we get it right, where do we get it wrong? And then we're sharing that feedback with our sales and marketing team so they can get a better understanding of what ideal customers actually look like. And oftentimes the criteria that we're looking at is a bit different than what they are.
I love it. You know what? This is a $1 million nugget that our audience should take. Bring your CS leader, bring your customer leader to the ICP design phase. Kristi, we are all living in this world where AI is in the center of everything that we do. How are you leveraging AI in your organization?
Oh my goodness. Well, AI is so fantastic because it's actually letting us be a bit more predictive than we would be otherwise. I think there's a lot of data that we use, but the manual inputs that have been required that you have teams going to enter into CRM or to other tools and systems, obviously not always reliable, even with the best governance around it. And it's also based off of data assumptions. Now, with AI, you actually have a lot more control over understanding what good looks like. And it's also going to be a bit more predictive than some of the scoring models that we have created. So this actually helps us understand what is actually the success rate of some of these, right? Or the deal velocity. So we're actually seeing the impact on it from the sales side, where we're able to see, okay, deals that look like X should be closing at a faster rate, or they should be managed in a certain way, right? These are the next steps that we should be managing to, or did we do these things, right? So it's helping control the deal funnel. And then on the flip side, we're actually able to understand risk more predictive than we had been historically. So now we can funnel that learning back to our sales team and say, actually, you know what? We've got some new learnings and some new insights that would suggest that the customers, or the prospects rather, that are in the pipeline might not actually be the right ones. Or if they are, here's some of the conversations we should be leaning into and questions we should be asking based on risk indicators. So I actually see a ton of influence in a billion different ways, and probably more than I can cover in this short episode time.
That's great. But you and your team are embracing AI to get all the intelligence.
In every way that we can.
This is awesome. You know what? I'm going to take offline session with you just to learn in the CS organization, how are you implementing AI? So let's switch the gears here. Obviously your goal is to grow, keep the current customer, and within current customer base, grow the book size, right? And as a chief customer officer, I'm sure you have certain budget, just like the CROs and CMOs who come on my show. I ask them, what, your budget, your 100 pennies, the proverbial. How do you invest these pennies to make sure that you build a pipeline? So how CROs and CMOs are responsible for building the pipeline, you are responsible for retaining your customers and growing the NRR, right? So if you had 100 pennies, Kristi, how would you invest those pennies to increase that book size?
Okay, I'm putting 50 of my pennies in product.
All right.
At the end of the day, if you don't have a product that is easy to use, that solves real problems, that is innovating at the right pace, that your customers can really embrace, that is a differentiation from other solutions that are in the space, I don't care how great your sales team is. I don't care how great your marketing is or your customer experience. It's not going to work. So you've got to make big investments into product. So I'm not a product leader, but they can have all my pennies.
Love it. Love it. So 50% on the product. Where else?
I'm putting 50%. I know that's a large percentage, but I'm comfortable with that.
Yep.
Okay, the next thing I would do, sales, I'm going to go and put 2 of my 10, I'm assuming these are 10. Yep, so we're going to put 20 pennies in sales.
Yep.
I'm going to put 10 in marketing.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and put 10 in customer.
Yep.
And I'm putting 10 in social.
Sure. Love it. So this is fascinating. This is so fascinating. Kristi, unpack it for me. 2 areas which kind of surprised me. One of them is only 10 in customers. I would have thought that, you're going to invest more in the customer so that they get referrals, right? And then the second one is marketing. I would have thought that you will put more in customer marketing to get in front of your customers. What was your thinking when you put these pennies in here?
So for me, the product dictates so much of it. So that's why I had to put so much there. I think if you have a great product, it almost sells itself.
Yes.
I know that's not always the case, but again, if it's easy to use, if it's intuitive, if the value outputs and the use cases are crystal clear, it doesn't take rocket science, right? Look at all the product-led growth companies that are out there that do not have machines behind it, and they're doing really well. So I don't know, I'm going to go all in on the product. Now on the marketing side, I only put 10 of my pennies in marketing, but I put 10 in social because I am loving what I am seeing with social-led growth. Yep. And so that's a big avenue of mine. And I'm not going to say that is different than marketing. I think that it should actually support that. But the thing is that what we're seeing today is more people want to buy from people. They want to buy from people that understand their problems. So you're seeing a large emphasis around thought leadership. You're seeing just so much around all those areas that I'm going to go, and as a big social adopter and somebody who is actually seeing the impact of building a brand on social, I have to have some money represented there. So I kind of took a little bit of what I would have put in marketing otherwise and kind of split that up into the social game.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for joining. This is fascinating. Usually I have a comparison to show where you are investing and whether your peers are. But for the customer success, the chief customer officer, we don't have enough data point for the comparison. But you know what? This is the beginning of it.
Well,
Kristi,
good. It's a good starting place.
it's a very good starting point. Kristi, thank you so much for joining us. This is fascinating. I learned a lot from this short 15 minutes, and I'm sure our audience are going to get nuggets from this.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved the conversation.